his chest. Kelly is one of them. He hasn't rolled out a front end, the remote on Kelly, because that's easy for other people to duplicate. Now he has promised to roll out Command officially, regardless of its state, in March. He says, come hell or high water, it will come out in March regardless.
The front end?
And he says at that point, I can no longer defend us from a technical standpoint against the world. And he believes that he's far enough along now that it will take them 2 to 4 years to catch up. And he said, you know, Craig, I actually started working on this 10 years ago. And he said, we just didn't talk about it to anybody. It was literally data mining. We were capturing information, we were buying up companies so that we understood what the competition was doing. So he bought 2 companies last year, tech companies, for the sole purpose of understanding what Berkshire Hathaway is doing and what Sotheby's was doing. Because Sotheby's is owned by Move.com. And so he bought these companies to understand their data and what they were doing with data mining. And that was the way that he got in to see what the competition was doing. So one of the things that he and I discussed was virtual operations. Because I started talking to him about, you know, the team expanding into different cities, different states, different countries. I explained to him the challenges that we are having with our Michigan team and how they're kind of out on an island all by themselves. I explained to him how we have agents that, you know, are producing, they're doing their job, they're holding themselves to the level of accountability, and most of our interactions are remote. And so I explained to him that there is an attraction to the EXPs and these other virtual brokerages. And so we left the basement and we went into, and I didn't write it down here, but it's in my audible notes. It's called MASH. The company is called Mash Up or Mash On or Mash Geeks or something like that. It's a company that he bought out of Spain that basically a lot of their education is done remotely. So I'm going to give you, I hope this is exciting for you as it is for me. So imagine yourself in this room and you've got a TV monitor, an LED monitor that is the biggest that you can get, probably about this size. And then you have TV monitors here, 1, 2, 3. You got TV monitors here, 1, 2, 3. And you've got an interactive HD camera that's here. And basically this room. I am using this technology where I can interact with this guy in Las Vegas, this guy in Egypt, this guy in Henderson, this lady, think of like Hollywood Squares, this lady in Michigan, this lady in Florida, this lady in Cabo San Lucas. And I can do a training, or I can do a class, or I can do a business meeting, or whatever I want, interacting with them. And then I have 20,000 people that are all viewing. And they can all see us. We just can't see them. Okay? But we are literally real time. And through the manipulation of my body and what I'm doing, this person becomes front screen and we have a conversation. And then these 2 people, and it's all done based off of where I am in the room and who I'm interacting with, like this. The cameras focus in on our conversation and everybody else can see and hear it. And you have 100% control. You can either have someone controlling everything or it can be all automated. And you could like in Spain, they had monitors all the way around the room, and that was the class. Now they don't see the monitors, they just saw everybody else based on their interactive, and they can change their screen view. You could literally go through paperwork. It's all audible, it's all recorded. So I explained to him that we're using Uber Conference and that it's kind of at a real small level, but we can't see the interactiveness of everybody. And this blew up. And so we had a conversation about the probability of us being able to use some of that technology and being some of the first pioneers of it. There was no guarantees, and he said, listen, I'm going to roll it out to 20 regions, and I don't know exactly where they're going to go yet, but the cost is very effective.
So So this is still a ways out, like month, 2 months?
He took me to the room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got
Okay,
2
I
rooms
haven't.
right now at RI that they're building out. He took me to the room and showed me, you know, what was going on, and I got to see some of the technology being put in and all that. It wasn't finished.
So you'd have, so we wouldn't be able to do that here though, because you'd have to have a specific room directly.
We would do that. If that was a decision, hypothetically speaking only,
Uh-huh.
I go to get back to Gary, you know, I intend to email him today and say, hey, thanks a lot, appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I wanna know more of. And I said, hey, I'm willing to invest in this mashup thing, whatever it's called. What does that look like?
Okay.
So the region might pay for the room, and we might pay for some of the technology, or we might pay for some of the licensing or something, and we might do a joint venture there, where we can roll it out, break it, fix it, test it, use it as an example. And it would be our space that we could do stuff with.
So for expansion, the hub would have that room, and then your teams would have your
Just their
laptops.
laptops, yeah, and then you have the software, everybody downloads the software, and that's what you use. So, that was exciting, because one of the challenges we have is how do we grow, and how do we take what we do here systematically and move it to additional locations, into different market centers, into different regions. And that's a challenge that we have to overcome as our team expands, because we have this expansion goal that we're not giving up on that. So we have for 2019, 50 net agents and 2 expansion locations. So that's a tall order. That's gonna have some logistical challenges, and we need to overcome that, yeah.
3 expansion.
On goal, it's 2.
Oh.
Yeah, on goal, it's 2 expansions.
Got
So, I'd like to surpass that, but I'm not settling for less than. So we talked about that. Family reunion is the rollout for Command in its true form. Most of you should have access to Command right now. If you don't, come and see me. We'll figure out why. It is rolled out in a tier state, and I have been reassured that everybody on the team has access to it. So if you don't have access, maybe you weren't put into the system on the team or something like that. So we just have to overcome that.
And is that just kellycommand.com?
There's a URL.
Login.
But that's only for the agents though, right?
Login.command.
That's for licensed agents?
Yeah.
That's only for licensed.
And if you have, if you are licensed and you are on KW, please use Kelly. Like, start using her.
I need to find my password. I can't log in because I don't remember my password for the marketplace.
Okay, just go to Shirley, she'll reset it
Keep
for
saying
you.
you don't have.
Yeah.
She'll reset it.
Not Shirley, but whoever's doing the money thing.
Didn't see
I,
it.
cause I talked to them this morning and she's gonna send me how to reset the password, 'cause
Okay.
my password is not.
Great, so if you get a generic way to do it, send it to leadership and
Or the
Fernanda.
team on
and
the
she can-
WhatsApp too. Put it in the WhatsApp so
Yeah, can you
everybody
send it
knows.
over?
As long as it's
I want that
generic,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It still says you do not have access to KW command yet.
Okay, so we just need to overcome that. Okay? So, in a nutshell, that's what we talked about from a global perspective. How much time do I have?
2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So in a micro content, we need to make sure that we start merging our leads and our clients and all that into Command, even if we're not gonna do anything with them. So that as Command starts to roll out and they start giving more sexy information, at least they're in there. There will be some challenges migrating, and so I'd just like to overcome that sooner rather than later.
So with that, we should, if we get new leads, we should be putting them all, we should be putting them both in.
Should, yeah, just start getting them in there and do a little bit of double work, because what we're gonna have a problem with is when we get into running Command, even though it's gonna be a little cumbersome, we're gonna run Brevity side by side, and I'd like to switch over to Command as soon as we as a team feel comfortable that Command can do 80% of what Brevity can do. Okay? And it might be 24 months, guys, I don't know how long it'll take. I have no idea. It might be 6 months.
That's Betty.
One of the things that I did take away is that we have a need for a position. And it was always on my, my vision board, and it always said Director of Technology. And I think some of you, I've met with you, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what this means. But 2 years ago, I just knew I had to have it. Like, I knew that we were going into a tech intense industry. And I remember that was done as I was coming to Keller Williams. That was 3 years ago. And he made it very clear that somebody on your team and my
What does
team.
that job look like?
I have a little clarity now,
Okay.
but that person they run the technology because it has become so intense. There's so much of it. And the ISA's new job description, like this is literally their job description, get everybody in our world to download the app. Now, there is no app to download yet, so that's okay. That will be their job description. Because by every lead, every prospect downloading the app, we will be able to communicate with them at a much higher level.
And they'll be able to communicate with us at
Yep.
a higher level too, right?
Yep, so that would be their job. Now, it can be trained upon now for the Brevity app.
Yeah.
But we have to get them into Brevity in order for them to use the app.
So does Brevity has its own app, front-end app, right, or no?
No, that used to be the website, right?
They have, yeah,
Oh,
it has
they
its own
have.
front-end app?
Yeah, teamtivy.com, like get them to log in and get them to start using the system, yeah. That would be the ISA's job.
Gotcha.
So I got 1 minute left?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so these, I'm gonna tell you these, we're not gonna talk about them. But I wanted to just plant a seed in your brain and we can talk about it another day. We'll have a day where we go through kind of the audio. You guys can listen to him, you can listen to my questions. We'll do that sometime in the next week, because I think there's value in that. But one of the highlights was train the agent to be tech smart. Train them to be tech savvy because our consumer of tomorrow wants the tech savviness.
Greg, can you share the video, the audio with us?
I just talked, we're gonna have a day where we go
I'm
through
not
that.
gonna be here, so,
Okay, when do you leave?
Sunday,
Okay, so maybe we'll record the session and then you would have access to that.
okay.
Alright, tech-enabled agent versus agent-enabled tech. The megas are leaving for EXP not because of what EXP has to provide. They're leaving EXP because there is a financial gain in the short term.
They're leaving to go to EXP,
Huh?
that's what you mean to say.
They're leaving to go to EXP, yeah. They're leaving to go to EXP because there is an initial financial gain for them that generates a pretty good amount of wealth. They will be back. They will be back. The data wars, Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Redfin, all those guys. We have to really look into our fiduciary versus our functionary. Okay, the tech people want us to be functionary. Our money, our commission comes by being fiduciary. And so we constantly have to understand our fiduciary. Give the buyer and seller what they want, the technology, the instant gratification, what they want, but we need to give them the functionary. We have the data to get in touch with our database, we just need to do it. We need to constantly talk to our database, we need to get everybody we know into our database. The war's about data mining, that is the fourth industrial revolution, and we're in it right now. Reduce costs, increase lead gen, and customer experience. That is our vision for 2019. Write that down, make no mistake. Reduce costs while increasing lead generation and the customer experience. That's it. And he didn't give me that, I came up with that on my own through my conversations with him.
Does Gary have an idea of when he thinks these people will fall? Does he think when the market crashes it'll happen, or the market shifts downward?
They're down 10% already, over last month. Zillow declined, like 2 weeks ago, 50% of their value in one day.
And they're not even profitable.
No, none of them are profitable. Yeah, they're all like hedge fund investors and all that. Yeah, they all have an exit plan.
And this EXP's not public, is it?
Yeah, they are.
They are?
How long ago was that crash?
For Zillow.
No, for the Zillow.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago?
Something happened for us. Like
Okay.
we announced something. I don't
Okay.
remember what it was, and their stock fell.
We
Okay.
announced that we bought.
Just for the day.
Okay.
But you can
Well,
see
that was
how
like
what Gary was trying to say is, listen, this is how volatile these tech companies are.
Yeah, well,
We announced that we bought the system that runs Zillow, right?
No, but I think that was last month though. right?
Yes, it
a
was
lot
something
of
like that.
companies had a a major decrease. So I was wondering if it was tied to that, but if it was
This
2
was
weeks ago, it
specific to
wasn't.
Zillow, yeah,
Okay.
specific 1 day Zillow. Brandon, you have the floor.
Sweet. Do you happen to have something that you switch slides with that you were using?
Yeah, it's my own personal,
Oh,
but
okay,
it's,
never mind.
there you go.
And,
This one.
Amelia has it.
Oh, you have it? Well, will it work on this?
You pull the USB out, and it already has the software and everything, so just pop it in here. Pull this out.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh, cool.
Turn this on. Okay.
Fancy.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Hi, guys.
Hello.
All right, so,
Get an appointment at 10:30, it's 10:35.
yeah, right, so can we get started? Okay, so listing presentations, it's something that all of us, I think, need to brush up on. I think it's something that kind of goes untalked about, and I think we could all use a little bit of formulating with the way that we communicate with people, especially when we're on appointments. So does everybody have something that they can take notes with if they find something that pops up to them? Everybody good?
Actually, I think maybe audio recording as well.
Sorry.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube.
Okay.
All right, so who would like to double their income?
I do.
Show of hands, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool, everybody, all right, good. Okay, so, not so fun fact, according to Columbia University, the average salesperson works in revenue generating activities for 90 minutes a day or less. That's it. The rest of their day is spent drinking coffee, sending emails, talking with people, and not really working. So, that means that the average income for anybody that's a salesperson in general is diluted down to 90 minutes a day of working. So, of you guys, how many of you are working 90 minutes or more or less a day? You know, so something that I brought up later in last week, I started rolling out this idea that we start timing every time we do lead gen. Pull your stopwatch out and start timing how much time you're on the phone. Physically on the phone. If you get up to get a water, stop your stopwatch, and then when you come back, start it back up again. After a week or so, you'll have an idea of how much time you work, and then you can now figure out, based on how much money you're making, how much time you're working, and how much time you need to work in order to make the amount of money that you would like to make. Okay? And when you're in sales, you cannot control where the sale is going to come from, and you cannot control where the sale is going to end, the outcome of the sale. What you can control is the amount of time that you're putting into lead generating and getting sales. And when you do that, you place yourself under the law of probabilities. And the law of probability states that if you double the amount of time that you put into face-to-face time with clients or on the phone prospecting, you double the probability of you increasing your income. It's simple. It has nothing to do with skill set, has nothing to do with experience. Granted, if you have a higher amount of experience and a higher skill set, you'll be able to convert at a higher level and you'll need to put less time in. However, if you just spend more time talking to more people, you're gonna have higher results. It's that simple. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. So how much time are we spending on the phone and face-to-face with clients? If we figure that out, then we have an idea of how we can increase the amount of money that we're making. Building rapport and trust. So the number one way to establish a good trust and rapport relationship with people is to focus on the relationship, not the sale that you're in contact with. People will always want a relationship before they buy or sell anything, ever. The relationship is always what's most important to people. So if you focus more so on the sale and not the relationship, you're not going to have a sale or a relationship at all. It's not going to happen. It's no secret that your number one clients will be the people that refer you most amount of business. 85% of your referrals will come from the people that like you and trust you, according to Harvard Business School. The very best salespeople are the ones that have the very best relationships with their clients. Self-explanatory. So, how do you build a high quality relationship with people, other people? Any ideas?
Listen to them.
Listening builds trust. Always remember that people want a relationship before anything else. So how do you get a chance to listen to people? You ask them great questions. The best salespeople have the very best questions. They know how to listen to them. They always, and I love this quote, be a good listener, your ears will never get you into trouble. And we talk about it a little bit in bold. You always want to be the person that controls the conversation with questions. You want to let the client dominate the conversation. Always. So, I'll summarize this. So, a quick and easy way to show people that you are listening to them. When they're talking to you, it's good to give them a little bit of a pause after they're done speaking. It says two things. One, I believe what you're telling me is very important, and I'm going to listen to it. Two, you're thinking about what they're saying, what to say next. You're actually putting actual thought into what you're going to say next to that person, and it shows that you're listening to them. Two, when you are talking to somebody, always question for clarification. Never assume that you understand what the other person is talking about, ever. So you can always ask, well, how do you mean by that? Or, what do you mean exactly? Can you go a little bit more in depth with that? The more you ask that, the more information the person's going to give you about how they feel and what they're thinking. And it also gives you another opportunity to listen and build more trust. So always ask questions and always dive deep on the answers that they give you. So if somebody tells you that they're moving to Denver and they need to be there in a month, it's not the time to go on to the next question in your script. The question is, why do you need to be in Denver in a month? If somebody tells you that they need to move for a job relocation, they have to be there in a month or they're going to need to find a new job, don't you think that's a little bit different than somebody that's just like, hey, I'm in no rush, I just want to go to Denver, I like skiing. You know, you've got two completely different situations that would completely change the outcome just by asking one more question. So dive deep. The last step is to take everything that customer or the client has said to you the entire presentation and give it back to them. So what I hear you say is that you need to move to Denver because you have a job relocation and it's of the utmost importance that you get there on time. In your own words, it shows that you've been listening the entire time and there is no bigger compliment to the person than to show that you care about what they're talking about and it means something to you. Okay, so psychology of selling. So a good way too, especially if you're on a listing presentation, to take a little bit of pressure because we tend to get a little bit nervous when we go into listing presentations. Were you guys nervous at all going in the other day? No? Yes?
I was.
No? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Did John say no?
yeah, he did say no.
I've told you this for a while, I'm like,
He's
I,
cool as a cucumber.
But even internally, you're not nervous? I am
And you've
nervous
told me that's a
every
problem.
single time
I
I
know.
go to a listing
I
presentation.
know, you told me that was an issue, that I'm not nervous at listing appointments.
Yeah.
It's confidence.
It's not. It's not.
I didn't get nervous
I
on
mean-
the first one.
Okay.
You were presenting.
Okay.
Duly
All right.
You took the listing though,
Just
right?
talk.
I was
A
nervous.
way, so a way to ease the environment when you're going into a listing presentation is to think of yourself as somebody that's helping them. You're not there to sell them anything, you're here to help them get to the next chapter of their life. Help. I'm here to help you, I'm here for you, I'm not here for myself. Think as if you were a doctor of selling, and I love this.
Hold that slide real quick.
Yep.
How many of you, by show of hands, have had an initial interview with me? Like you've sat down around the table with me and I've had a conversation. By show of hands, or who, by their show of hands, can tell me what the last thing out of my mouth is before we end the conversation? John?
Would you like to, do you wanna do business with me?
No.
No? That was kind of.
We're on
How
to
can I
it.
help you?
Relating to this. Yes, Arsenio.
Let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you.
Yeah,
Or what's one thing I can do to help you right now?
yeah.
So when you think of sell, think of help. Because you'll hear that, like true leaders, true people, like people that truly want to help people with their business or buy and sell homes or take care of their kids, whatever in your world, when you can end the conversation, how can I help you? What's one thing I can do to help you right now? I'm here to help you. That leaves it as a, I'm putting it back on you to use me to get what you need. Okay? So it's powerful. Just translate the word sell for help. Because that's really what you're doing. I'm constantly selling myself to you guys. Constantly. What's one thing I can do today to help you? Okay?
Helping is the highest form of selling.
Oh, absolutely.
Simple. So think of yourself if you were a doctor of selling. So when you meet with a doctor, there's a 3-step process that every doctor follows, at least ethical ones. That when you meet with them, there's a 3-step process that they follow. Does anybody know what the first step is?
Initial consultation.
Qualified.
Make it a
Qualify.
Ask a question.
Okay, okay.
Introduce.
Examine,
Okay.
examination. Okay, what's the
Real
second
estate.
step? After they examine the problem, what do they do next?
Ask-
Diagnose the problem, right?
Yeah.
And then what comes last?
follow.
Prescription, the treatment, okay? It's no different than selling. So if I walk into a doctor's office, okay, and I say, Doc, I've got a headache, and he's like, okay, we're gonna get you into surgery immediately. What would happen?
Questions, you have to ask.
What would happen? You would leave immediately, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going into surgery. It's no different with selling. If I walk into somebody's house and I'm instantly like, here's the contract, when can we get started? It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You need to figure out what the problem is that they're having. There's a reason that you were there. People don't like to invite random people into their homes. that
Ready,
they don't
fire,
know.
aim.
Yeah, so there's a reason that you're there, whether it's a positive move to the next chapter of their life or it's a negative one, there's a reason that you're there. And your job is to go in there and examine why you are there, examine the problem or what you can do to get them to the next step. The next step is to diagnose them, okay? Figure out what it is, dive deep, figure out what the problem is, and then tell them, what can we do to fix this problem? Then, at the very end, you propose your sale of your service. It's not when you first walk in the door, else you'll scare them away. Every single time. It will kill the deal. So always sell in sequence. Okay, so listing presentation. This is where we're actually gonna get into the presentation itself. So, I put this in here because I think we all have a tendency to overcomplicate things when it comes to listing presentations or just selling in general. When in reality, the people that do best in our industry have very simple approaches. When I was at Bold and we were doing the listing presentations with Rick Brinkus, I cannot stress to you how surprised I was, how simple his listing presentation is.
Could you tell some of the people that don't know who he is?
So Rick Brinkus he's the one that owns our market center. He sells over 300 homes a year. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough at Bold to be paired with him for our listing presentation when we went through it and we practiced. And I was so surprised how simple it was. And I asked him afterward, how true is this to your actual listing presentation, Rick? And he said 85, 90%.
So how was what did he say?
And I'm gonna go through everything that he did. And I realized that the only thing that was something that most agents I wouldn't consider doing is he brought graphs, which we have his graphs. We actually have the graphs that Rick uses on all of his appointments.
Oh.
I've been doing that.
That's what they're pulled from. We pulled them, it says generated by Rick Brinkus on the top. So, the opening, and this is all similar to the Bold script, okay? I've just oversimplified everything so that it's easy to remember so that when you're on a presentation, you don't need to remember 6 pages of words. Oversimplify, just simplify things. So the opening, when you arrive at the appointment and the client opens the door, point to your wrist and let them know that you have an appointment.
Yep.
And it is now that time. It shows that you're on time. Like they said, he was very, very happy that you guys were on time, correct?
Yeah.
It's very important because a lot of people aren't on time. It shows that you're time to do what you say you will. The walkthrough, upon entering the house, always ask if you would like them for you to remove your shoes, always. It's a respect thing. Ask if you may set your materials on the kitchen table, as it implies that you will be going back to that space. It'll free you from putting your stuff down so you don't have to carry it, and it also implies that you'll go back to that space, and you'll be able to access your materials again. Ask for a tour of the home, or you can have them wait in the kitchen and fill out a questionnaire to see if you can look at the home through the eyes of a potential buyer. It shows them that not everybody has the same eyes they do for their home, which is important because people tend to think they have the best home on the block, always. And upon entering, after you've done the walkthrough and you've gone and looked at all the rooms and taken your notes, when you go back, it's imperative that you ask the question, if by the end of our meeting tonight you are confident in my ability to get your home sold, is there anything else that would stop us from getting the process started tonight? If they tell you, no, there's nothing else, you're good to go. If you do everything right from this point on, you've got a listing. And if they have an objection, shelf it till later. Don't deal with it immediately. Shelf it. Isolate the objection. 3 goals. So this is the part of the presentation where you tell the client what your goal is of our meeting tonight. Why we're sitting down tonight, what my ideal goal would be for tonight. Goal 1, to review the motivation to sell the house now and agree on a price. Okay? Go over any questions the client may have at the end, when you guys are done talking.
So you would suggest, when you say that, say, go over any, I'll go over any questions at
Yeah.
the end.
Well, yeah,
because
and
we'll
we'll-
go through, I more than likely will answer your questions.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. If they have a question, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have at the end. I find that a lot of times once we're done with, once I'm done speaking with you, usually I will have answered the question. And 3, decide tonight or today whether they choose to work with you.
Hold on.
Yep.
You're gonna send them the slides?
Yeah, I can.
Oh,
I could send it to you if you'd like.
okay.
It's in Google Drive, so if you have
Oh,
Google
okay.
Drive, I can just share it. Okay, yeah, so decide tonight or today, whatever time it is you're meeting with them, if they choose to work with you. Now, the bold script will go on and say, and I will choose if I choose to take your listing. However, if you're not 100%, if you don't speak with 100% conviction, it could possibly come off the wrong way if you're not very careful, in my opinion.
You're right.
So I left that part out. If you wanna say that, if you're confident with saying, and I'll choose if I choose to take your listing, then go by all means say it. I probably wouldn't say it because it depending on the person that you're dealing with, you might offend somebody and it wouldn't be good. Okay, 3 critical questions. Very simple. 1, do you really want to sell your house? It's very blunt. Blunt questions work. It gets people to start talking and tell you how they really feel. Question 2, are you willing to price your home to sell, not have it sit on the market? And question 3, this is the most important question of the entire meeting. Do you want me to sell it for you? If you have a yes here, you're done. You can, this is the most important question of the entire time you're sitting down having a conversation with the person. Do you want me to sell it for you? If they say yes, you're good. You're good. You can probably go on to paperwork right after that. Pre-qualifying. So this part usually is done over the phone. If you've done it right, you've pre-qualified them on the phone, you figured out why they are going, where they're going, why they're selling, when they need to sell by. All of this is usually done over the phone if you've set the appointment over the phone. If it hasn't been done over the phone, the entire purpose of the pre-qualifying section is to figure out why they are doing what they're doing, where they are going, and if it's a positive move or a negative move. Just to get more information, dive deep.
So for pre-qualifying, you have it on the phone, could you possibly just bring it back up? Say.
Yeah,
you
and
want-
reaffirm, yeah, it's just to reaffirm everything that you've talked about. If you've done it on the phone, we spoke a little bit on the phone, you told me that you needed to move to Denver. You told me that your mother had passed, I'm so sorry to hear that. And my goal is to get you there as soon as possible so you can be with your family. It sounds like your home is the only obstacle that's stopping you from being with your family. Just reaffirm everything that you've gone over on the phone. So, presenting market statistic and pricing strategy. So remember, information is clarity and clarity is power. And the wonderful thing about statistics is they do all of the talking for you. They're facts. You can't, there's nothing really to talk about facts. The only thing you need to do is make sure that you are prepared and you have everything that you need to present to them. So market graphs, comparables of the area, what homes are selling for, any fun facts about any fun loan programs that are out right now that may cause their home to sell quicker, anything. Explain your comparables and how you found them and how they relate to the property in question. And another thing too, and this is a little bit of a personal touch, and Craig does the same thing as well. I never pick the price that the property will sell for or be listed for. Never. I will never say, hey, let's put it up for sale at $215. I will always give the client a range, depending on my comparables. So I'll say, hey, depending on my comparables, because they always will ask, Brandon, what do you think I should sell my house for? You're the professional, I have you over here, what do you think I should sell it for? I never tell a client what they should list their home for. However, I do believe that your home will have a higher probability of selling if we price it between $210 and $215. What are you thinking? How do you feel about that?
I think that's great. If you want to elaborate as to why you do that?
Well, because if I say, hey, Nate, let's put your home on the market for $215,000, all right? And the home doesn't sell, he's gonna come back to me and say, hey, well, you told me that, we should put it at $215 and it's not selling. What's up with that?
Always give a choice.
You rid yourself of liability when you let them pick the number. I told you that I suggested in this range, and I told you it would increase the probability if we put it between $210 and $215. You insisted that we did $217. Okay? Does Does that help a little bit? Is that
Yep, absolutely.
fantastic? And this is just a little bit more information on this part. So this would be another great time to show them what we do differently and how our team is different. So present them the 25-point marketing plan. Let them know that we prospect daily to find buyers for our sellers and that we value communication at a very high level. We call all of our clients every Friday before noon, even if I have nothing new to tell them. Communication is very important. And then figure out which way they would like to communicate with you, whatever kind of communication is best for them. So do you like to text? Do you like to call? What do you prefer? Do you like if I email you? Some things are very important. I'm going to need to talk to you over the phone. So if you see my phone call, it's probably important if you value texting.
One thing I liked, I think that Russ said in bold was, I'm proactively prospecting from 10 to noon every single day. If you call me during that time and I answer, you can fire me on the spot.
Yep. I probably wouldn't say that. If it works though, like if you were 100% certain that you can pick your phone up from X time to X time, and then you're positive that will happen, then say that, because that makes you show how serious you are, and people will test you on it too. 100%.
Yeah.
They'll call you. Bettina?
Yes, my question is, when you go on to the appointment for the presentation, are you just basically sitting down at the kitchen table, doing a one-to-one base, or are you showing an actual presentation on a video or something?
Face to face, no video.
No,
Yeah,
like,
usually no video.
pictures or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have, whatever I have in paper, because I won't take like a laptop with me.
Oh, you don't
Some
do that?
people do. I
Oh.
think some people do actually take iPads with them. 'Cause
So you're
it's-
just like a face-to-face?
Yeah, well, yeah, usually, the thing is too, is you usually don't need that much.
Oh, okay.
If you can relay everything that you know through word of mouth, and you can speak with conviction, you have eye contact, you seem confident, usually you won't even need anything. There's certain things that I would suggest take with you, like I would certainly suggest taking the market statistics with you, because that helps, that will never hurt you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay, and, pricing the property and closing. So the final step of the process, after presenting comparables and selecting a list price, it's time to ask the big question. Now that we've determined the price the home will be listed at, may we get the process started tonight or today? And if yes, you may begin the paperwork and fill out the contract. Congratulations, you've earned a listing, now go get 5 more.
Can you go back one?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good.
So what you've done here is really taken the bold and just
Simplify it.
just chunked it down.
Yep, exactly. Because I think, if you can remember the bold script 100% word for word, then I think that's a wonderful idea. Because I think it's actually a great script. I think it covers everything that you need to cover. I just have a hard time remembering 7 pages word for word. I do. So I think if you are able to, in your mind say, okay, I've done the opening, I've done the walkthrough, what do I do next? Do you get what I mean? Okay, 3 goals. Now I need to go over the 3 goals. Then I need to go over the 3 critical questions. And it's much easier to, in your mind, manage what you're doing, and you understand where you're at in the presentation. What?
Plus, isn't it similar to like, let's say a buyer walking into the home that they're gonna choose eventually? Isn't it true that within the first few minutes of the listing presentation, even before you've presented any of our marketing, they've already decided if they wanna work with you or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very rare scenario that people will say, hey, I made the dedication to interview 7 agents, and I'm going to interview all 7 of them. I forgot the exact statistic, Craig, do you know it off the top of your head of how many people interview with agents? They select the first agent they meet with?
87% of all people who list their home list with the first agent that they come in contact with.
So, if you have somewhat of an idea of what you're doing, 87% of the time you're gonna get the listing if you're the first person in the door. That's just it. But in the circumstances that, go ahead.
And those are the same 87% that would use you again if they could remember.
Yeah, if you chose to follow up with them at least more than 1 time a year, they probably still would do that. But yeah, that's about the basis of it. Are there any questions on it? No? Cool. All right, that's it.
So let's talk 2 claps for Brandon.
Good Good job, Brandon.
And so let's talk about that. What did you guys learn?
Simplify. Simplify, simplify, simplify.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay, keep it simple, stupid.
Always listen. Put the objections aside.
Oh, let's look at my, notes here.
I think listening is really important, because we get so focused on like, okay, I have to present this is my listening presentation, we forget to listen to what their problem is, and like you were saying, you know, if you're there to help instead of sell them, then you're gonna get the list. If you're there to really, truly help them get to where they need to go, then it doesn't matter. So I think building rapport is really good, asking better questions, asking for clarification, pause to show you're listening.
To build on that, what Craig says he does is he just walks in and says, "What brings me here," and then just sits there. you know, people like me would be very uncomfortable
Right.
too, but
I would like to go on a presentation with him.
So,
Nice presentation.
so to capitalize on what Brandon's saying, by the way, I use Bold now, and I have for 2.5 years. I have my own little influences that I put in there, but I remember when I was growing the team, and some of you would go on listing appointments, you'd be like, hey, where's your listing presentation? You'd be like, well, here's the comps, here's the recent solds, what else do I need?
The quick CMA too.
Yeah,
Even-
like I couldn't overcome how you needed more than me. And then I had to coach through that, and the coach, you know, said, listen, they're not you. They don't have your confidence yet, they don't have your experience, they don't have your transferable skills, and they don't have your personality. And so I was searching for something that I could give the team that would be used as a Bible. And then when I did my first Bold, I didn't get this. To be honest with you guys, when I did Bold with Cody, I didn't get this. I'm like, huh? 3 critical questions, let me add it. I didn't get it. And it wasn't until I took Bold the second time that I really got this. And I want you guys to understand that you can sprinkle in a little bit of your own personality to this. What this script does, though, is it allows you to talk to any of the 4 personalities. If I'm a high D and I'm sitting at the table and I want you in and out in 15 minutes, like I want to know whether I want to break bread or not. Like, I know what you have to do to sell my home. I just want to know that you're the guy that I want to talk to or the lady I want to talk to every day. So get your ass in here, tell me what's special about you, and get the F out of here. Like that's the conversation I want. So you're gonna come in, great, here's what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna do. And if we make the decision that you wanna work with me and I choose to be the agent that wants to work with you, can we go ahead and wrap this up today? A high D is gonna like high five you in the air. Awesome, cool. I can watch TV in the next hour. A high I is going to understand the process. Great, you come in, you're like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna tour the home, you're gonna fill out the questionnaire. I'm gonna sit back down at the table. We're gonna go through the 3 critical questions. We're gonna identify the pricing and what we're gonna do to sell your home. And if everything makes sense and you like me and I like you, can we work together?
Yeah.
They're happy, they're air high-fiving because they're like, good, I know what's gonna happen. And I know that I get to ask my questions, I just can't do it till the end. You get a high S, it's in writing. Here's what we're gonna do, here's how we're gonna do it. And I'm not gonna bore you with all the talk. Because high S's usually don't wanna have conversations. Can you just leave it and I'll look at it tonight and get back to you? And a high C says, okay, I know that I either need to make a decision today or I need to make a decision later on another day. And this is what your game plan is. So this script, regardless of your personality, allows you to go in and have those conversations with those people. And that's what's really important. But it literally is a 20 to 30 minute listing presentation. Literally. And you know what, guys? If you use the pre-listing package and you use the listing presentation, the heavy lifting of this has already been done in advance. They've already made the decision, like Brandon said. If you're in their door, it's your deal to screw up. You have the listing. It's your deal to screw up. Give them one reason not to sign the contract tonight. And most of you do. Most real estate agents do. We actually sell ourselves out of taking a listing. We overcomplicate things. We listen to the wrong objection handlers. They're like, oh, I know, they're my friend, and I know they want to wait until next year, and I don't want to push them. Or, well, you know, I'm going to try to sell it myself for 2 months, and if I don't, then I'll put it on the market with an agent. Those are all objections. Those are cries for help. Those are them saying, please help me sell it now. Like, I don't listen to it that way. I don't. I mean, I hear it as, I'm here, you're here, we both could be doing something different. There's just something about me you don't like. So let's figure out what that is. I'm too strong, I'm not giving you the price, whatever it is. I'm a team, I'm not a, one guy who doesn't have any business, so therefore I'm gonna work for you 24/7. Like, let's just figure out what it is and overcome that objection. But make no mistake, people, that is an objection. If they let you get into their house and you know that they clearly understand that this is a listing presentation and that you intend to take the listing, they're just looking for one reason not to do business with you. That's it. So this does not need to be a 2-hour event.
Yeah, it's a big deal for them just having you in their home. Like, and thanking them for their, like, it says that, I forgot to bring it up, but it's paramount you thank them for their investment of time to meet with you. Like, it's a huge compliment for them just to even have you in their home. Like, especially if they don't know you, you know? If you call somebody over the phone and they're saying, yeah, come over, I'd love to see what you could do, or, what you guys offer, that's a huge compliment just having you there, you know? You're halfway there, being there, so.
Who in the room learned one thing today that they can implement in their listing presentation? Show your hands. Did you learn something today?
I did.
What'd you learn?
I learned more on the other side that real estate agents are there to help more than make money.
Yeah, by giving without the expectation.
Cause I don't have
of-
my license, so, I'm looking at this from a different point of view, so I like that,
Yeah.
that aspect of it.
So you're in pre-licensing. Yep, it's what we call work to learn. Great, what'd you learn?
To simplify everything. No,
Yeah.
I like the simplified aspect of everything, so.
Yeah.
It's just helps.
Mercedes?
I've learned to listen, to ask questions that these people, they are are irritated, they wanna get their home sold, I learned to relate, to mirror them.
Mirror match them. Okay.
This is pretty simple, but I learned to ask to remove my shoes. Like that, it's so simple, but it's
That's a
just
big
something
deal.
that, since I've been on one, so I kind of knew that there was a process. But like little things like that, little extra questions to ask it.
Good, John?
Build rapport, showing that we're there to help. And, yeah, I think really just going in with the mindset that you're there to help and not necessarily sell them on how great you are is really important.
And you should know, before we move on to other people's questions, you should know even if somebody else set the appointment for you, you as the agent, when you call to say, hey, I'm so excited to come over, and you know what, it's gonna be real quick, it's a real painless process, I've got this down, I'm gonna ask you some questions, I'm gonna view the house, I'm gonna make sure you fill out that questionnaire I sent you, and if it makes sense, and you like everything about me, and I like everything about you, I'm actually gonna ask you the question whether I can list and sell your home tonight. Is that okay? So if I provide you with the value and show you what I'm gonna do to get your home sold, and you and I agree to go into business together, is it okay if we go ahead and list your house tonight so I can get it sold by tomorrow? And if you can't have that conversation before you go to the house, I'm not convinced they're a qualified seller. I'm not convinced. So make sure that when you're pre-qualifying, and a pre-qualification is the job of the agent. It's not the job of the appointment setter, it's not the job of the inside sales agent, it's not the job of the administrative assistant. You're the agent. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. What's your value proposition? What do you earn per hour? We all learned it in bold. I've known mine for years. Gary's somewhere between $40,000 and $70,000 an hour. An hour. Yeah. So pre-qual, get on the phone. If it all makes sense, you like what I'm going to share with you, I like you and I want to work for you. Can we just go ahead and agree now that if it all makes sense, we'll go ahead and list the home tonight so I can get it sold by tomorrow? Tongue in cheek, okay? That's really important. We don't ask the question. We don't ask the question. We don't ask for the business. Do you know how many people, because at Bold, I walked around as leadership, and I was listening to people. I can't tell you how many times people didn't ask for the business. Just ask the damn question.
I feel like Brandon said something last week, very briefly about that, about us like not wanting to ask that question, or maybe it was Russ, saying we're afraid to ask that question because we might lose the appointment when that person wasn't a qualified appointment anyway. Yeah, it would have been a waste of time, so we're afraid to say, you know, if everything makes sense, can we go home tonight? It's like, oh, well, I don't wanna say that question, I don't wanna scare them out of the appointment. It's like, well, they're not gonna list anyway if they're not in the right mindset, so.
And you shouldn't have been going on the appointment.
Yeah, so I think that's an important question to ask on the phone, so yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, put yourself in these shoes. If you have a listing appointment, and you know you need to ask Craig to go on the appointment with you, would you do things differently to pre-qualify that appointment, knowing that you're having to ask me to go on the appointment with you, and you want to make sure that you have the highest opportunity to convert that appointment? Why aren't you doing it for yourself? Why aren't you doing it for yourself? Think that way. Every time you book an appointment and they're like, yeah, that's fine. Think, I need to ask Craig to go on this with me. And like Craig will look at me sideways. You walk out of there and Craig's like, what the fuck was that? You didn't ask them? They're not ready? Oh my goodness, like you don't want that conversation in the car.
They're selling next year?
So use that as your drunk monkey. You know, have that image of me, with a little purple shirt on, sitting on your shoulder going, did you pre-qualify this person? Okay?
So, out of curiosity, from the standpoint of someone who's not licensed, and it's just to hear a yes on the phone and just to get excited about an appointment, I feel like there's a fine line between having someone say yes to an appointment and then knowing whether or not they're qualified. From someone as an ISA, how could you ask for business without? I don't know. Like, because I understand what you're saying. I think I'm overthinking things, obviously, but I think that's probably a lot of different ISAs are probably feeling the same way.
So as an inside sales agent, you have two paths you can go down.
Mm-hmm.
The first path is just to get a yes.
Yes.
And then do a soft handoff to an agent.
Okay.
So that's awesome, that's fantastic. I'm excited that you made the first decision to put your home on the market so it can sell to a prospective buyer. I'm gonna have Tracy, who's one of our top agents, give you a call in the next 24 hours. I'm not sure of her availability right now because I know it's a real hot market and we do a lot of business. Is that gonna be okay? If she doesn't contact you within 24 hours, trust me, I'll make sure that I get a hold of her and get a hold of you.
Okay.
And then you're literally hanging up the phone and you're going, hey Tracy, can you call this person right back?
Okay.
And Tracy is going to pre-qualify them, say, hey, I heard you're on the phone with Nate, sounds like you got a property to sell, tell me a little bit more about that. And then she's gonna pre-qual. And she might ask the same questions that you already did. Hopefully you're giving her a hot sheet and says, this is everything I know about this person. That would be path A. And believe it or not, guys, that is the fastest path. That's the strongest path. You don't want to sell them a home or our services all over the phone. That's not your job. Your job is to spark interest and for them to go, yes, I'm interested. Great, fantastic. I'm going to have one of our top agents, Arsenio. He's awesome. He's been around the block many times. He's sold a lot of homes. He runs a big portion of our team. He's going to give you a call back and confirm all the details that you and I talked about. Is that okay? It'll be sometime in the next 24 hours. Path B would be, fantastic, can I go ahead and set an appointment? And I'm going to get with our agent, Tracy. I'm going to give her all the information. She's going to confirm the appointment with you. And I don't know if that will be today or it'll be tomorrow before she shows up. You can always reach back out to me if you have any questions, but you're in really good hands with Tracy, but she'll probably just confirm as she's on the way to the appointment.
I like that.
Okay?
Thank you.
So you as an ISA, you don't have to sell. Now it's awesome if you could qualify. That's awesome. That's not your job. Your job is to pass a warm lead over to the agent and say, this is a warm lead, take it from here. And the agent they'll appreciate that. They'll appreciate that from you. But you pass an appointment to an agent that is not a warm lead. In fact, it's not even cold, it's like frigid. Frozen. You do that a couple of times, the agent's gonna be like, yeah, you know, this ISA's in it for themselves. They're just trying to make a couple bucks. Thanks, but no thanks. The other thing that I do that he talked about, I don't have an eye, guys. You guys know that. Like, I can sit here and talk to you because this is our space. But I'm not a social person at all. I don't, and I mean this with sincerity, I don't care about your dogs and your kids and your vacations and all that stuff. I don't get warm and fuzzy over that. I try, like I intend, my life, I'm getting more intentional with having a higher eye. So how do I overcome that? I sit down at the table after my tour and I sit down and say, thank you so much for giving me the honor to be in your home today. Let me ask you something, what brings me here? Tell me your story. And I shut up and I sit back and I listen.
He's okay with that. People like me are very uncomfortable with the silence.
No, because you're warm and fuzzy.
And they will talk. And they'll tell me. And usually they'll tell me on the surface all the things they think they want me to know. And then I'll hear a few things about properties and financing. I think Tracy and I that went to a listing presentation one day, and we're sitting there, I believe it was you, a year or two ago, and we're sitting there, and I said, so tell me your story, what brings me here today? And they're like, well, we're thinking of selling our home, we're thinking da, 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 da. And about halfway through the conversation, we start to find out that they had just refinanced the home, that they couldn't even afford to sell the home if they wanted to, and that my next job, or our next job, was to get in touch with a lender to see if, how long it will take for them to pay down so that they could list, and they would have never told me that. They couldn't sell. And they're like, well, we got the refinance, or if we don't get the refinance approved, we're gonna go ahead and list. And we kept in contact, and I guess they got it approved, and I'm pretty sure it was you. Little couple over on the northeast side somewhere.
Was it the 3-hour one? It took like 3 hours by the time Mark got in there?
He was kind of a rough, rigid kind of guy, a little bit of a beard thing going on. Yeah, that was them. So, moral of the story is, I ask them a question, I sit back and I shut up. And they just vomit all of the information. They tell me everything I want to know and then some.
That's no better time to build trust than that.
Yeah. And then we walked out of there with a plan. The plan was great for them, they refinanced. The plan, not so great for us, and it's a great opportunity to reach back out to them. Now Tracy has to go into her database and say, rough-looking old guy refinance, and figure out who he is with his wife. Hey, reach out to you. So, real estate's simple, it's not easy. And literally, it's knock, knock, knock. They open the door, you step back, you say, hi, I'm Craig Tippett with Keller Williams. It's 3 o'clock and we had a 3 o'clock appointment. Can I come in? Great, hey, real quick, do you want me to remove my shoes? No? Okay, I just like to check some people, And I go in, I said, wow, gorgeous home. Can I put my stuff down at the kitchen table? Fantastic. Hey, real quick, did you get the questionnaire that my office had sent you yesterday? Oh, you did? Oh, did you happen to fill it out? Oh, you didn't? Okay, well listen, I brought a copy here. So I want you to go ahead and take a few minutes to fill this out. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to go ahead and view the home without you because I want to look at it through the eyes of the buyer. Okay? I already know all the good things you're going to tell me about it, and we're going to get back to that. But I want to see it for the first time with no influence. Is that okay with you? Is there anything you don't want me to look at? Okay, fantastic. You fill this out to the best of your ability, and I'm going to be back in about 5 minutes or so. If I have any questions, I'll just shout them out. Is that all right? Okay, fantastic. And I leave. And I leave them at the kitchen table. And I walk through the house. And I'm looking. Like, I'm looking for things that a buyer would, like, stains on the ceiling and any type of upgrades or updates, anything that's shoddy or challenging, big furniture, small furniture, dirty clothes. I'm looking at everything. I'm peeking through the window. What are they going to look at? Is there a road behind me? Because remember, we're real estate agents. We don't know jack diddly about this house. We don't. We learn about the home when we get there.
Yeah.
We don't do all this research, contrary to popular belief. We have the tools to validate the information when we show up. And so I come back and I say, wow, awesome home. I've got a couple of notes. We're going to go through it real quick. Did you get the questionnaire done? Great. Well, before I go through the questionnaire, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today. So what brings me here? Tell me your story. They will probably answer a lot of the questions in the questionnaire, and I will just check mark those things off. As they're talking, I will glance at the questionnaire and I'll look for any red flags. Once they're done with their story, great, thank you so much for your honesty and transparency. I really, truly appreciate that, because my job's not about selling your home, my job is to help you get to where you need to get to next. So on that note, this is what I'd like to have happen for the next 20 minutes. And then I literally follow that path. That's it, guys. That's it. And the last thing I want to leave you with before we go into the sales, stop when what is enough. Yeah, when enough is enough, or when what will do, don't ask what.
Yeah.
I know. So,
Yeah, when you know already, like.
Stop
When you
selling,
don't want the
when you get a yes, stop selling.
yeah, we feel like we have to go through our script. And so I use the word what. Well, what would happen here? Well, what would happen if I would like to? And we, as real estate agents or salespeople, feel like we have to continue to go through the script. And they've already said yes. We just don't listen to the yes. If they say yes, as soon as I sit down and I see the buying signals that they're like, okay, so what do we have to do to get going here? Do you think that I'm going to go through my story?
No.
Do you think that I'm going to go through the 3 critical questions?
No.
What's the only question of the 3 critical questions that matter? You want me
It's
to,
the one
you want me to sell your home. So if a high D's like, yeah, cut the bullshit, let's just get it listed, I gotta go somewhere. Game starts at 5. Awesome.
Say sometime, let's do this.
And that happens, guys. It happens. Like, I hear people, I see people all day long that go in. There's actually a different word. They say, what is it? Don't ask.
Questions that you don't want the answer to?
No, don't ask. Don't ask what
Different question.
when.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, anyways, there's like a, don't ask this when this will do. There's a saying. That's what I was trying to get to.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. All right, so that's the important things for you guys to remember. That's the listing presentation. Like, Brandon hit it spot on. 2 claps for Brandon.
Yeah, Brendan.
That's it. It's not rocket science, guys. It's not any deeper than that. And I literally just went through all of the ad lib section. That's it. That's the only thing that's not in writing for you. You literally could take the rest of this slide, your bold listing presentation, the 3 critical questions, and you literally could go through the rest of it at the kitchen table, and you're done. You don't even have to have them sign the listing presentation. You don't have to. Brandon and I are working on kind of the future of listing presentations, so to speak, and we're trying to identify, can we start with absentee owners, can we start with people who are not here in the state, and how do we take listings from them over the phone? Or how do we do listing presentations with sellers in our office versus going to their home? Because when you start running volume, we're gonna have to,
We don't have
we have
time
to get
to
real
go.
fine tuned.
And I know some teams use, they'll use one sheet, they won't even take the listing.
They just get an
paperwork with
agreement.
them.
Yeah.
They'll get an agreement that they are agreeing to list the home with them.
Yeah.
And it's one signature.
Yep.
And then they're done.
So you
And
don't
then
need
they
to
just send
bring
them
all the
paperwork
paperwork to
over
them?
Their
digital.
assistant sends it all over.
Digital.
Yep. And
Because
they
if
sign
you,
it.
so if, think about it, if the person that you're meeting with doesn't know anything about paperwork, which they don't. If you go in there and you say, hey, yeah, the only thing we need to sign here today is this agreement that we're going to get it listed. They think in their mind that that's stone, like there's no going against that.
Yeah, it's a listing broker agreement, is
So-
really what it is.
so is
It's
that
the same
really
thing
just-
as a BBA.
Is that just like a psychology thing for them? Like, okay, I'm listing with them, or?
Everything has to
It
get
makes it
easy and
easy
quick.
initially. Yeah, we send everything
And they just
digitally.
put the signature there, like, yeah.
Yep. So there are mega teams that are doing that. We don't really have it happening in Las Vegas, and we expect to be the first, but think of a BBA for listings.
Yeah, but they should have that like long before, you know, like, it's obvious, like.
Lance Loken is doing his listing presentations and listings over the phone, as you all heard in bold,
Yeah.
on an average of 13 minutes. He's never even meeting the client. And you know what, guys? It's actually going to get easier for you to take listings, because we're gonna shift into buyer's market. And we're done with the listing presentation, but I want you to understand, your days on market is going to
Be longer.
get extended.
Yeah,
So-
there was a, It was
Yeah.
on the MLS, I checked Friday. I believe it said 15 or 16 new listings, and I think 120 price adjustments.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we had 1,000 price adjustments in 1 week. Okay, all right, so that's it for that. What time do we have?
11:24.
Can we move on?
Yeah.
Can we get out of here by noon today?
Mhm.
I was trying to get out by noon so you could leave early. All right, let's bombard through this real quick. So, social media video, raise your hands. 1, 2, I saw yours, I shared it. I didn't see yours.
New home?
Huh?
Oh, yeah, she
I
did,
saw that
she new
one.
home build, she did it in the new home build.
Okay, I didn't see it, but that's okay. I didn't have a lot of time and energy looking into videos
Is
this
this
week.
supposed to be once a week?
Yeah, yeah, at least once a week. Lead gen calls, who's recording their lead gen? Let's get on top of that, guys. Let's get on top of it.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I found a way that you can actually record calls without having to use that app. I'll show you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. Who did a bold 100 last week? Show of hands. Who completed a bold 100?
That was last week, right?
The week
Yeah,
before.
it was
Just last
No,
week.
last
their
week.
Wednesday. Brian was going to do a bold 100 on Wednesday, even though he had a client that was coming in.
I was supposed to do it Thursday, I didn't finish mine.
I think John did one.
I started on Thursday, so.
Did he do it?
I
Did
think
you
so.
complete a bold 100?
Not.
Okay. Doesn't count if you didn't complete it.
Yeah.
Okay. We have dialing for dollars on December 20th.
I have,
Yeah.
Am I fast forwarding?
On what day? I'm sorry, December 20th?
Yeah.
It's on the sheet.
We do not have a Real Talk event this month. It is now January 8th, just so we're all aware. January 8th.
I have my phone on.
Are you guys trying to get the, are they not popping up?
Yeah, it's, Brandon was still on there, so.
Oh, do we have the, remote? Is it up now?
I'm trying to get this ready first, hold on. I heard you.
Boy, we are tech challenged today, aren't we?
So while we're waiting, the listing that I have coming up, they're moving into a new home and,
I brought it up to him, and what time are you leaving today?
well, right now, cause, well, in a few minutes, cause I've got a walkthrough at Spartanburg.
Okay.
But like, they showed me that they were registered under like sign drive-by, and it wasn't the agent that they were representing them, but it was the agent, you know, in the office as well, and I'm like, well, in your opinion, is there any way to like get me in there? And
Yeah.
she's like, no, not with the, liability of getting us fired, so.
So how long ago was it?
Well, they went into contract with a house over there like 7 months ago and then backed out,
Okay.
and then. they
So I
had
think
a-
you can go to Sharon on that. On your way out, go to Sharon, and here's why. Because you are procuring cause of bringing them back.
Okay.
Okay, and Sharon already has a relationship with the broker,
Cause it's D.R. Horton, right?
and there has been 2 other deals since Brandon and mine.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so I would go to Sharon, and I would just say, I talked to Craig, we got another situation, but it was 7 months ago. And I'm bringing them back. Like, we're having conversations, and I'm the one that's saying, let's go back and look at these models again, and let's make that decision.
Is it standing inventory, Tracy?
Yes,
It is? Is it on the MLS?
I don't know.
If it's on the MLS, you could, remember we were talking about that, Craig?
Yeah, so that's a good question.
Because if you have an MLS sheet that says they pay a 3% co-op, and in the agent-to-agent remarks, it does not state that you need to be with them their first time walking in the door, they are entitled to, they have to pay commission from what I've heard.
Yes,
Do you know
so I
the
would go and
address?
see if that property is on the MLS. I would
Because-
print it off.
Yeah, because.
And then on your way out, go to Sharon and say, hey, this is the situation, I know you've got a relationship now with this broker. 7 months ago, I mean, there's gotta be a good argument.
And before you do that, I would print out the MLS sheet if it's on the MLS before you bring it up, because if you have a good argument, they'll change the MLS sheet probably instantly.
Yeah.
Right,
And this is
Because-
D.R. Horton?
yeah.
Cause we were gonna have it.
I know.
Cause me and Craig were having an issue with that too,
Yeah.
and they weren't going to pay commission. and we didn't end up going with the standing inventory house. However, had the client gone with the standing inventory house, I think we would have been able to fight it because it's on the MLS and it says it's 3% co-op.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It's like on sale this week and forever long.
Who's the
That'll be your
sales
biggest
agent?
thing is if it's on the MLS.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, so let's quickly through this. Brian, did you do a Bold 100 last week? You committed to the team that you would do it on a Wednesday, and you said you were gonna just figure out how to break that up into AM versus PM, because you had like a 10 or 11 o'clock appointment.
But then I told you I was gonna switch it up, remember?
To win? We did. Now you have to tell the team what you're doing.
Well, I don't have time, probably like a week after Bold's done, cause I wanna actually do it like, it's not for like Bold, but for myself. I'm gonna try, okay, no, I'm not gonna
Your intention is
try.
to?
My intention is to, clear a week and do a Bold 1000, but calling nothing but, and calling other realtors.
A Bold 1000 or a Bold 500?
That's
200 a day.
200 a day.
1,000?
I like it.
Okay?
Yes, I'm just gonna
Why
call,
don't you start with the Bold 100?
other agents, because I'm just gonna call 1,000 agents and just ask for referrals.
Oh, nice.
So when are you going to do that?
Start with Craig.
After the New Year? Or before the New Year?
Wait, you're gonna call agents and ask for referrals?
Yeah, around like.
He's gonna
other
build his
states.
referral database.
In
We
other
talked a little
states?
bit about how he can do it, the strategy behind it.
Wait,
He's
wait.
actually gonna have conversations with real estate agents and ask for a referral. Say, I wanna be your referral partner in Las Vegas.
Out of state, because I was saying if
Out of,
if
yeah.
somebody
no
called
one's
me and
referring
said, hey
to
man,
that.
do you know you're looking to buy something? Like, why the hell would I call you?
Clarity's power.
Yeah, I'm like,
I would
So
go
I
Lost
want a
team.
date that we can hold you accountable to. Before January 30, or before December 31st.
It'd have to be like, only reason I pick after January is because there's like 3 different times in December that I have to go to New Mexico to take my continuing education to keep my license current there.
You have a cell phone?
Yes.
Good. We can go with you.
I guess. Well, I wanted
But
to
he'll be
sit
in-
down and I don't wanna be like running all over the place.
Okay, fine.
So the first week after January, whatever date that
Give
is.
me a date.
First is Tuesday.
Second is a Wednesday.
First is a great day to call.
Well, we're gonna talk about that briefly.
Alright, so 7th through the 11th?
7th through the 11th. Can everybody hold him accountable? 7th through the 11th of January at Bold 1000.
7-Eleven, yep.
That is 200 contacts a day.
That's not 5 days though, that's only 4.
Within a 7-day period.
Okay.
That's all I care about. Yeah. 7th through the 11th. He's doing it within 5 days.
Drive safe.
Okay? Awesome. So Legion, past that. We are now in the first week of December. Agents, schedule your 411 with me directly. Your week 2, week 3, and week 4 will be with your team leader and Brandon. Fire captains, you guys are up.
The biggest thing I want is to know who's been onboarded and who's on our teams now. Because we have, we have a lot of ISAs, more or so, coming in and out, so I don't know how John might.
So if you're on the blue team, raise your hand.
I have a lot of people not here.
We're the,
Ha.
Cause
So you got 1. So you're on the red 2.
I think we're leaving, I'm pretty sure. the
Where's
team is
Sharon?
on my team.
Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
the team.
Oh, you're right
So-
here. You're on John's team.
Fernanda, have you been onboarded?
I mean for the people who have just recently ISAs have come in and have interviewed and who
Yeah.
No, I don't really need to worry about things,
Yeah.
because there's
Yes,
some
I
that are
do
still,
worry.
no, I'm saying, there's no one really on the team, that's it.
I'm
Oh, I didn't, okay.
He was seeking
Yeah,
a
what's your-
clarification.
You're the fire
I
captain.
know, that's what I don't know who's been on board.
Let me clear this up. Diane, which team are you on?
John.
Red.
You're on,
Sorry.
okay.
And you're onboarded.
I'm not on your
That's
team.
it. Are you on, you're not on board.
She is onboarded.
So Betina's on board, it says Betina's on my team.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Deanna, have you been on board?
Which team is she on?
Ah,
She just
so
got
now
on.
we're getting clear.
Yes,
There we go.
So you have an orphan here.
So there's an orphan, and have you been onboarded?
What does onboarded mean?
So you go through, sign your independent contractor agreement, go through, you do your 30, 60, 90, 411 with
I
me.
haven't signed anything, I've done
Okay.
3069.
Okay,
So you've done it.
so when did she get onboarded?
We went over everything, I'm ready to sign everything.
Yeah, she's
so
got,
we
we
need
did
to-
do, you've
Yeah,
done your
we did.
onboarding.
We were
Okay,
okay.
yes, I have that, yeah, sorry.
I was like,
Yeah, okay, just
Because
that
you wouldn't have been
paper, I
able to
need
go
that
to the
signature
team
back.
building event
Okay,
if I didn't have an independent contractor agreement
Okay.
signed.
all right.
So, I'm going to, assume that you've signed your independent
Yes,
contractor
yes,
agreement.
I have.
Great, so you've been onboarded, what team are you on?
John.
Okay, so you are clear, you're not clear. How many people do you have on your team right now? 2.
I mean, Josephine, so
You have
1,
six, I
2, 3, 4, 5,
Tracy.
6.
What team
I
is
have
Murray?
7. I have 7. I have 7.
Meet your team leader.
Deanna. Hi.
You are on the blue team.
And then Mercedes, have you been onboarded?
Not yet, we're gonna have roll with it.
Oh, Tim, okay.
Okay.
Tiana, hi.
So the next person that onboards,
We go to John.
Amelia and Ross, the next person that onboards would go on to John's team. Okay,
What about
And then the-
Jordan?
Well, Connor had
What's that?
I said, what about Jordan?
yeah, whoever the next person is that
I have
onboards.
2, I had, yeah, 2 people that I've done.
Okay. I was curious because she was on the appointment with me,
I know.
so,
Okay.
okay.
Oh.
So we kinda have to
Yeah.
give an extra.
So maybe we can talk about that. Is your
That's
time?
not my,
No, 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 I'm not making a big deal out of it, I just think
Yeah.
I think,
this wouldn't happen.
my team is in shambles right now. I know what's going on with everybody, it's just, they're not here.
Well, let me tell you, Connor, Deanna has some ideas that
Oh, yeah.
she's gonna give you guys a run for your money. She is, so.
I am.
Yes, you are. I did it on Friday.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, she's.
Like, oh, yeah.
All right, so do you have anything to say to your team?
My one team.
My 3 people, I would like to meet with you sometime today and figure out what your ideas are,
Okay.
and we can congregate about that.
John, do you have anything?
Yes, I've been meaning to set it in stone, but I would like red team meetings to be after every Monday meeting. Just for 15 minutes, we'll meet, share ideas, do some cool stuff, yes.
I love that idea, but.
No, and, no buts?
Wednesdays, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, after the meeting, we sit down with the
Okay,
ICs, and it's always been a conflict, so.
Got it, I
working on
100%
something.
understand, yes.
Can I just say something really quick? You've been on top of your game with keeping us accountable last week in the messages, so I just wanted to give credit where it was due.
Good, 2 claps. Good job.
But I promise I would call him out if he didn't complete his goal 200, what was I gonna keep?
You were gonna take my car keys.
Oh, no.
Well, I did see him here yesterday. I came into the office. and John was here,
Yes, I did.
and the car was out front.
Nice.
I still had the keys.
By Tuesday though.
Yeah, you better believe that was enough pain for me to be like, I'm doing this bold one.
So Sharon, what I heard you say was, it sounds like he's growing into the role.
Absolutely, I agree
Yeah.
with
Good,
that.
Yeah.
good. And Fernanda and Bettina?
Yes, he's always keeping track of
Yes,
us
he
on
does
his
come
phone.
in online.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what can you do with your team to encourage them and hold them accountable to their activities?
And to say nice things about it.
Because it sounds to me like they are a better FISBO than you are FISBO agent. Because the for sale by owner is full of objections,
Yes.
a million and one reasons why they can't do something.
Yes.
Well, how many of them are out of the country? Cause aren't like
Yeah,
two of them
right.
out
I
of the
have,
country?
I have one out of the country now, and then when she gets back, I have another leaving the country.
Well, where's Shannon?
Shannon's out.
Shannon's on a cruise.
Out of the country.
Okay, fair enough.
So 2 out of the country.
Two. Josephine's out of the country.
Yeah.
And
Mitch?
Mitch is-
I've been asking, have you talked to him?
I just saw him a text like an hour ago. I haven't
Okay,
done that,
I've been
so
talking
I
with
don't-
Arsenio about Mitch, not sure what's going on there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yesenia is
Test
out of
comes.
office until
Yep.
test comes in.
yep.
Then Josephine's obviously out of country. Tracy, she does her 2 days, and obviously she's doing the listing, so.
Yep.
Bettina, I need to have a deeper conversation with her, and then Deanna. So Bettina and Deanna need to have a conversation.
Okay, good. And if you need to use, if he needs to use Uber Conference or anything to communicate with his people, feel free to give him that tool. Okay.
WhatsApp is international though, right?
And then
Yeah.
Go ahead.
real quick,
Saw John like
Nate and Arsenio, how long, like, how big of a conflict is it to have the meeting right after this meeting?
We're gonna talk
How
about.
much time do you need?
We're gonna have to
Big.
take, We're gonna have to talk about something else, cause we're gonna have to change our, it's just a lot.
Okay, yeah, we
Alright.
gotta.
We usually have
We'll
like
sit down and
15
figure
minutes
stuff
until
out.
we get the room, why don't we just do it before we come in the room?
Well, I mean, Mondays are already so stacked, I'd want some of us to get some calls done before the team meeting, which normally doesn't happen, but.
Unless you get here at 8.
Yeah, unless you get here at 8, I encourage you guys to.
So work with your team, that doesn't have to be here, work with your team to identify your huddle calls, or your conversations, okay? Alright, moving on, thank you guys. Brandon, anything for the fire captains?
No.
Okay, our weekly appointment set and appointment held winner is?
John.
John, 2 claps for John. Good job.
Hey, actually, no. Well,
No.
you won, but I'm just saying, I told Amelia, tres azules, uno anaranjados.
I went in there with the cups. How many of you guys saw me with the cups in there?
And I said,
And he walked right
and I
through.
said, I'm going to script practice, tres azules, uno anaranjado.
I think Brandon thinks I'm his assistant, so.
You walked in with the cups.
Alright, moving on.
Sharon.
The monthly
Oh, I
They're
need to put
just
one on mine.
referrals.
four
matter.
referrals out and a buyer under contract.
Flex
Good
up,
job.
Sharon.
2 claps for Sharon.
That was 2 claps.
Good job.
Blue note for you, like your shirt.
A blue note?
A blue note.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
not back there. I think
understand.
that's meant for
Thank
me.
you,
You're welcome.
it's appreciated,
There you go, bam.
thank
Oh.
you.
Okay, business planning 2019. When is it? Next Monday
Oh.
at 8 a.m. You do not have shadows that day. Okay, this is only for us. Okay?
Better call it.
Are you guys videotape the meeting?
No,
The
we
business?
will not be videotaping it. You will all be providing food. So
I'm
it's a
not gonna be
potluck.
here.
Okay. We just have to have a 411 before you leave, and
Yeah.
then we'll take your 411 and implement it into the
Okay.
team's business plan.
Make-
So everybody is to bring a dish.
Please.
I can
Make
bring
sure,
ramen.
and
By
$800.
today, before you leave, I'd like to know at least what type of dish they're bringing. And then I would say by Wednesday, I want to know the actual dish they're going to bring. Because as much as I would like it, I don't want a room full of
The
Sandwich.
same thing.
sandwiches or salads or desserts.
I'm bringing a 6
I
pack
want
of
to make
ham.
sure that we, think lunch, think lunch.
Pack of left
Yeah. Lunchy or brunchy. And it is from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. So you are to barricade.
That's a long day.
Are 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You are to barricade your day. You are to set the expectation with your clients, your family, your friends, all of that. There are no excuses. You will be putting your cell phone into a bin until break.
So no if.
Am I Skyping
We
in?
have committed to getting a lot done in a very short
Me in
period of
Mexico.
time.
Living life.
So I'm casting the vision now. We all understand, there is no excuses. Okay? Any questions on that? Great. Sign up with Ross, what you're going to bring, and then I will look at the list. I'll see if we're missing anything. So we are in 15 protocol until we get back on goal. It is what it is. So the only thing right now that matters is lead generation activities. I would expect the team to double down. If you've been doing 3 and you're not hitting your goals, I expect to see you here in the afternoon if you don't have an appointment. I expect to see you on brevity. I expect to see these things going on. Okay? Doesn't mean I require it. I don't require you to do jack diddly. But one of 2 things are going to happen. You're going to get out of business with me, or I'm going to get out of business with you. That's it. I'm good. Only way to fail with me is to quit. And we all have goals that we have to achieve. And we have to get ahead of the market. Yes?
Can I have everybody hold me accountable to doing a minimum of 1 Bold 100 per week?
What day are you going to do your Bold 100?
Maybe we
I
should.
didn't think that
I
far.
kinda wanted to
Sneak
leave
that
it up
one
in the
through.
air, maybe do it on the
Nope.
weekend, no?
Because what if Patty sets an appointment?
Yeah, Patty. Then she's gonna call
She did that.
Brandon.
Patty actually
Well,
set an
it would be
appointment.
on my calendar.
Patty had an appointment for someone. For those of you who don't know, Patty's our database manager there. She's on the screen. Patty had a client that she had to set an appointment for on a very specific date at a very specific time. And would you believe that there was not an agent available?
I didn't get a phone call.
Wait,
When was
She looked at your calendars.
my calendars.
Wait, when was this?
She did. If
Wait
she
a
wants to go
minute.
through the details, she can.
I was at Bold probably.
I'm just saying, there's an agent, there was a client who needed an agent on a very specific date and time, and we had nobody available based on the calendar.
So who did she call?
I don't know.
Patty?
The conversation is about,
Shake it out over.
live on your calendar, guys, like set the expectation on your calendar and hold us accountable to it. A couple of weeks ago, I looked at people's calendars and it looked like we were doing the same thing over again. Like people just copied and pasted their calendar for the next week, and I caught it, and I went back to Patty, I'm like, I'm not accepting this calendar. Because how you perform in here is how you perform everywhere. And if you're just calling in your calendar, that's what your clients think you're doing. Okay, if you give the world the perception that you're always available, then you better be available. And if we spot check you and we get a lead that comes in and they're like, yeah, I wanna go look at a home tomorrow, and we call you and say, hey, you're gonna have to meet with the client ahead of time, and you have to pre-qualify them, and it says you're available, oh yeah, something came up. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying she's gonna go based off the facts of your calendar. Some of you are getting really good at sending in kind of updates. Just make sure that Patty gets back to you and says, hey, I got your revised calendar, thank you so much. Yeah.
Quick question, does Arsenio and the ISAs have access to our calendars? Because you guys are setting appointments for?
That's a great question.
No, we do not.
Okay,
We were trying to do something where it gets sent to us, but that's just gonna be a lot of calendars for us to hold on.
Yeah, I think it goes back to Patty, because Patty still runs that department.
Yeah.
okay, I was
So-
just curious,
Yeah.
okay,
That's kind of
alright,
one thing that we do is either go to Brendan or Patty prior to actually setting it up.
okay, got it, alright.
So, she's the keeper of the calendars, like, I don't even get half of your calendars anymore, but when she responds back, like in the morning and says, here's your, I see the calendars at that point. I just go in and look for any anomaly, that's all I really look for. And then when I walk into a room and I see that somebody's not here, the first thing I do is go look at their calendar. And that's cool. I mean, I get it, people have lives, they have vacations, they have friends, they have family, they have second jobs, I get it. Our relationship is about us holding you accountable to your calendar, which is your business. And how can you work with a buyer or seller if they don't know your business? Which is why you need to have your Bold 100 on your calendar. If that's now a standard in your practice, it should be in there every day of the week, every week.
Maybe
Not
schedule-
every day, each week. But if you're gonna do it on Wednesdays, you're gonna do it on Wednesdays. You're gonna do it on Tuesdays, you do it on Tuesdays.
So, would it be acceptable to have it on my calendar and I announce it on Monday? So it would never be on a Monday. But I would.
Well, when you do your calendar,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I mean.
on
I'll say, okay,
Sundays,
we're doing
and
it
you
this
send it,
Saturday.
yeah, you've got it on there, that's all.
Okay, and then just if I say, hey, I'm doing it on Wednesday, if you guys see me doing anything besides have two phones on my ear on Wednesday, you know, then.
Russ talked about an agent in Bold 2 weeks ago. He said, the agent said, hey, listen, I lead generate every day from this time to this time, and if I ever answer your phone call, go ahead and just fire me. That agent is so clear on their business practice that they understand their number one job is generating new business. Their number two job is servicing the business they already have. So you just get clear. There's nothing in your life that's more important than you lead generating. Nothing. There's not a client out there that is that important. I'm sorry to say. Because if you don't lead gen, and then you don't systematically follow up with the clients that you do have, you have no business. Okay, Brandon, you're up.
11:48. Alright, so the only thing I wanna talk about, really quickly, I just wanna go over the stopwatches again, cause I think that's like paramount for all of us, and I think we'll all grow from that a lot, and I think if you can just build up the discipline to use it, and keep track of your time, so when you do your call sheet, and you're keeping track of your contacts, at the end of the day when you're done, look at your stopwatch and write down the amount of time that you did it, and write down the amount of contacts that you got out of it. And then at the end of the week, you're gonna add up all the time that you spent working that week, and now you know how much money you are making depending on how much time you're putting in.
Put that in CTE and then make your life easier.
Yeah.
The time, you put that in there?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
For hours
I don't
lead
know.
generated.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I see.
For the week.
Okay.
So, yeah, and if you're able to you're able to locate and say, okay, I worked, 6.5 hours this week and I got one appointment out of it and I took a listing. Now you know that it's taking you that amount of time, roughly, to get one listing or to get one buyer, to get whatever you got out of it. And now you have an actual way of telling how much time you need to put in to get a result. And if you double that time, you double the probability of getting your result. And then the only thing that's going to happen from that point on is you're gonna become more efficient and you're gonna get more done in less time. That's all that's going to happen. So the only thing that my goal is for the team, and you will make more money because of it, put more time into revenue generating activities. That's it. If you can double the amount of revenue generating activities you're doing right now, you'll make double the money.
Absolutely. We don't do enough of the required work.
Of the stuff that's important, Like I promise you have so much more fun at home socializing than you will here, 100%, or sitting on the couch doing nothing. Like if you're gonna do nothing go home and do nothing. It'll be more fun for you. Like when you're at work, let's work, and let's get things done, and let's make money, and let's change our lives, because that's why we're here. We're here because we don't wanna go work some random job that sucks. Yeah.
So we have 2 goals for next year. We're gonna talk about it on Monday. Goal number 1 is that everybody on the team understands their conversion rate per hour. So those of you in bold, you learned it at a kind of a 10,000 foot view level, but we're gonna dive into that on Monday. And we're gonna pull CTE. We're gonna pull everything you did at CTE as far back as the year will take you, and we're gonna say, great, this is your conversion rate, and this is your cost producing activities per hour. Now you know why you're hitting it or why you're not. And you're gonna get hyper-focused on that. And the second thing that we're gonna focus on is, are you getting done in the morning, everything that you need to get done so that you can spend the afternoon managing your business or providing yourself with additional lead gen? That's it. That's it. Because real estate is a lifestyle, it's not a job. It's not a job. Just get in, get purposeful, get your job done, your activities in your business done, and then get out. People who are purposeful, they're out there showing homes in the afternoon, they're writing contracts, they're spending time with family, because they got what they intended to get done. Okay?
Another thing too I wanna add, the best time to do something is now, always. Always. And that goes with everything in life, it's not even just for working. If you know that there's something that you should be doing, do it now, don't do it later. Always. If you have a client on the phone that sounds interested and you think that they'd be willing to take action now, don't say, let's wait, it's Friday, like I'll call you Monday. Go out now. Go do it now. Even if it's uncomfortable and I know it's Friday and you wanna go home and rest, if you have opportunity, do it now, always. Because if you put something off until later, chances are it's not going to be there by the time you get there. Always do it now. And if you have fear with doing something, that means you're moving in the right direction. If you think hey, I need to call this client that I said I was going to call, and I don't think it's going to be an easy conversation, there's no better telltale sign that you should pick the phone and call that client right now. Don't feed your fear time, which its favorite food is. Fear loves time because it builds. If you're thinking, hey, I gotta call this client, it's gonna be a tough conversation, I'm gonna go get a drink of water first, just to think about it. By the time you've gotten your water and you've gone back, you've already talked yourself out of doing it, and you're not going to get done. Every single time. So never feed fear time. It's its favorite food, 100%.
Should get a shirt. Okay, Patty, database.
Morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
So, good afternoon. Lunch timing here. So, you guys, I haven't seen appointments set on Brevity. The only ones I'm going to say there, the only appointment that I've been looking at is from Josephine, and appointments that I set for 2 other agents. But I haven't seen any appointment set from you guys. Please use Brevity.
In Brevity,
as much
she's
as
saying.
you can. Everything's about notes. Please call your leads, your clients as much as you can. I've been talking to leads even at 10 p.m. my time. So please just do it. And calendar, I haven't received a lot of calendars this week. I know it's the holiday season, but we are in business. That's the only thing.
So from today on, Ross, And Patty, when you take the photo of the appointment board for the morning meeting, shoot it over to Patty. She's going to confirm everything is in brevity, and that will be the deciding
Number.
factor. We said it before. We said that that's how we were going to do it. Oh, we just lost Patty, by the way. We said we were going to do it. Now it's happening. So you guys get to put it up on the board. Make sure that the appointment is in brevity. That's how we will pay the spend. Okay? Anything else? Okay, moving on. Arsenio.
Just want to say thank you to the people who joined us. Appreciate that. For the ISAs, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just going to be dial, dial, dial. But keep in mind for all you new ones, you're building your own business. This is your life, your job, your career. So as ISA, you're starting up. It's from ground up, but we're here to help you so you guys can expand. I also want to congratulate Jordan. First time on the phones for that day. She made an appointment, and Shannon, we do 2 claps.
2 claps. Good job.
And yeah, that's pretty good.
So now that's her standard.
One a day.
One dial,
one dial, one appointment.
One appointment a day
And
keeps
you're
Craig
up.
away.
She has 100% conversion rate. Yep.
It wasn't one call.
Okay, guys, so I got this brilliant idea, from Sharon, thank you, Sharon. On appointments set, guys, so if appointments are not on the calendar, I know that, Patty just brought that up, if it's not on the calendar, does it exist?
No.
No. So what, idea I got from Sharon is for me to start getting your appointments, share your appointments with me, as well as sharing them with Patty. So I can go through the meeting as, well, there's an appointment over here that, John,
Yeah,
how was your appointment with Terry?
it was good.
It was good. What came out of it?
So she wants to sell in January. She was curious about the value of a home around the corner, and I've not gotten back to her about that yet. However, she hasn't spoken with any other agents. She'd be looking to list in January, if
So,
anything.
so this was done on Thursday. Did we follow up with her on Friday at 11 o'clock, before 11 o'clock?
No.
No, so we need to start doing that, okay? Buyer's consultation with, Sharon, how did that go?
It went well. She's not moving here until hopefully by next summer. I sent her lending information and I'm hoping to BBA her this week.
Perfect. Diane, appointment with Joseph, and John accompanied you. Congratulations, that was your listing that you got. Good job. How did that go for you?
Very well.
Okay.
And it actually led to some ripple effects. Maybe some other things.
Okay.
Yeah, second appointment helped.
Yes.
Perfect. We have a physical appointment that was at 1 o'clock with Sharon and Jordan. Good job, Jordan, on first time, and you set an appointment. How did that go?
It went really well. He was adamant from the very beginning that he wanted to try selling it himself with an open house over the weekend, so I went ahead and I let him do that. I followed up with him. Nobody showed up to the open house.
Great.
I had some more contact with him over the weekend, and I'm hoping to get with him by Wednesday, because that's when he was gonna make his decision.
So we'll set that appointment with him as well,
Yes.
and then we'll share it,
Yeah.
and we'll share with.
But
Patty
we've been
as
in
well.
communication all weekend, so we're good.
Perfect. Jessica, prospective realtor, Arsenio. How did did you follow up with her? How did that go?
I did. I mean, she's strong. I mean, I want to see how she does when she actually gets her license. I don't really know too much on if she's gonna fit for the team.
Was that the one that we met with?
Yes.
Yeah, so with that one, I totally think she goes out, gets done what she needs to get done, and then
Give her.
if she's serious, she'll come back.
Yeah.
I don't think much time should be invested into that one.
Agreed.
So you haven't had any communication with her after that, correct?
I spoke to her on Saturday just to see how.
So as well, I didn't put it on here, but we, Bettina set an appointment with Alejandro, one of her, he's looking into buying, so he's a buyer's appointment, and it was on the 1st of December. It was rescheduled. Connor, you took that up, as well. It was rescheduled till Thursday, so that was our Saturday appointment.
Okay.
So, we will have, we're rescheduled for Thursday, Patty, at 4 o'clock. So, and the reason I'm saying this is because I was the interpreter for that, and that was Bettina. So, this is what I want to start doing, guys. I want to follow up on your appointments. I want to know how I can help you, how Ross and I can help you in the operations department, what you guys need from us. So this is what we want to start doing. When you guys set appointments, please set it on your calendar, share it with me so I know what's going on as well, okay?
Is there, real quick, is there any way that we could use the brevity calendar? Because it integrates with Google. Is there any way, then it doesn't have to be shared, it's there. Everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Our Outlook calendar.
This, well, what our main goal is actually getting it on Brevity. And the reason we started doing this is because Sharon brought this up as a good idea, just so I can follow up and see
A
what
master
we need.
appointments calendar, and when
Yeah.
they put it on their calendar, they just add her as an attendee.
I got it, and
Yeah.
that might be the answer. I would encourage us to look at the Brevity calendar, because if you put them in as a lead, they're always tied. That calendar is always tied to them, it's always tied to you, everybody can
That's a
see
good
everything,
idea.
no double entry. And it still syncs with your Gmail.
Cool.
And it reminds you, like, I don't know about you guys, but my Brevity app reminds me every day when I have an appointment or like any events.
So, can we do that, Patty? Maybe you, Sharon, and Amelia, like, work through that, make sure that there's no issues. And if there's issues, let's come back to it and say, hey, we wanna use the Brevity, and here's the problems we're having. Because what I don't want is 3 different calendars.
Interesting.
Give me a little
I was like, what's going on?
So.
Are you,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Just rip it.
Hey, this is a new shirt, I want my birthday.
Drop that picture.
Go!
Oh my
What's the back say?
Yeah. I like it.
Good job! Craig is speechless.
So Bolt tomorrow.
Yes.
Can I encourage everybody who's going to Bolt tomorrow to wear their shirt? If we get
Give
them.
me a shirt, yeah.
Okay, and I would like for Monday, I would like everybody to come in with a Santa hat on and their shirt. You don't have to wear your shirt all day, but bring
When?
your shirt in on Monday so we can take a photo.
Next
So I can
Monday?
do some, yeah, for the team thing.
Can you guys get me on Skype? I'll be my face will be on Skype.
You're leaving Saturday. You're not even here for the business planning?
I told you that last meeting. And then you guys were like, it's one person, Fernanda and Brandon. Okay, is it good for everybody
Yeah.
else?
Alright, fair
You
enough.
guys, we're not that.
Guys,
You do
shirts
this.
will be distributed after lunch,
Wi-Fi.
okay, because there's still
Yeah.
things that have to be done, but after lunch, we will come in the office and we'll give you a shirt, okay?
Are you gonna wear a shirt tomorrow?
Yeah,
Cool.
I already checked mine.
That's
Of
where-
course.
You don't even know that.
Yes, you did, I know that. Mhm.
Alright.
Go for the month of December, so we are rolling over, I did initially put 40 and then I felt,
Can we?
Well, we
You're
can
not
actually-
confident in our team?
I have confidence
Can
in
we,
my team.
can we print a bunch of 30s off and put them in the
Yes,
team room?
we will do that.
And the ISA room?
Do you have any $30 bills?
No. Okay, guys, active listings, we have 3 active listings, 2 are pending, okay, that are not up here. One is, we're still working on a pre-listing at Diane's, which, we will get listers to start out there and we'll start getting all that taken care of, just to make it go live,
What's
okay?
up with Shepherd? Solid
We
damn
do have
house.
under contract
Yeah.
sales, we have 2, under contract listings, we have 1. 10 referrals, Shannon, we have 1, Fernanda 1, and Sharon, we have 4, and that's for this month. Connor, you still have
It
all
doesn't
your.
Adds up to 6, I think.
One second.
Oh. Oh, Lord.
When it.
Yeah, good job.
Okay,
Ah.
Shannon 1, Fernanda 1, and Sharon 4, good job.
And they're all up on the board, these are signed referral agreements out, they're in the database. We're systematically following up with the agent and the referee on Friday by 12 noon.
I wanna hop on that. I followed up with the referee out, and I apologized, said sorry for letting you down, is there anything I can do? And he said, well, we're no longer looking, but I appreciate your phone call and I appreciate you following up with me and everything. That was the one in Utah.
By the way, do you know any commercial agents that are thirsty for like leads that will nurture somebody? Because if I give a lead to Ed, I don't think he's going to nurture it.
So I've been talking to Buck Habib, who is not only the team leader at Southwest, but he's also probably one of the better commercial.
Buck Habib?
Yeah, Habib, yeah.
Habib?
Yeah, Buck, just go by Buck.
Let's just call him Buck.
So he was like, yeah. Alright, moving on. Bold, we're all good. Any questions on this? Anybody?
No.
We're all ready to go?
We're all gonna leave early?
How many in the room have a foul?
I probably have one.
Like from the whole entire time?
Have a foul from both, yeah.
I think I do.
Okay.
Is that a hand, Craig?
It is a hand, yes.
You have a five.
Here's my second question. Who in this room has my binder? That picked it up accidentally?
Uh-oh.
I'll check.
You know,
Please
was
do.
it?
You lost
Is
it?
that why you got your foul?
Did you lost it?
Are you
Yep.
sure it's not in
Wait,
the
you don't get a
office?
foul for not bringing your binder.
Because I didn't bring my homework, so I took a foul.
Oh.
My homework is in that binder.
Do you hold one?
Oh my god.
Oh, I have one foul. I'm not.
Right.
That's not the issue. All right, dialing for dollars. Thursday, December 20th in this room. Let's make it great. Real solutions. So resolutions, RE solutions, real estate solutions, real solutions. I will be talking about some of the stuff that Gary Keller talked about. Why is this all funky? Did you like print off the letters and put them all together and take a photo?
To
get the white out, yeah.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be resolutions because it's like a new year, and then
Yeah.
like real estate solutions.
Randy came up with this idea. All right, so this is the class. This is open for anybody.
Oh, I got it.
It is open for anybody. Brandon and I will be teaching the class. It's on December 18th, 1 to 3:30 here. I don't need a lunch sponsor per se, but I would like to have a snack sponsor. Okay?
Snack or bring snack.
And I like to fill the room, so let's make sure that we are recruiting to this. It will be action-packed. There will be some awesome stuff. Anybody can attend. It's free. Anybody. They don't have to have a license. It doesn't matter. Okay? Holiday wrapping service. We talked about it last week. If you have gifts that need to be wrapped, bring them in. It's $1 per gift. It goes to, I think the money goes towards.
KW Cares,
I
probably?
don't know, it doesn't say it.
Shirley's Pocket?
Shirley gets everything back. However, if you need to wrap your gifts there. Gingerbread extravaganza. That looks kind of fun. Food, drinks, films, and holiday cheer. Gingerbread house decorating for our agents and their families. That's pretty cool. So 19. That's the 18.
Might have died.
Yeah.
5 to 7. If you have kids, I might even bring my nieces and nephews to that. That would be a good idea. We can have a good time. December calendar, have a look at it. It's out. I want to make sure that we are very clear that December is death to real estate agents. Like the month is going to go by so fast. It's going to get stressful. Money's going to be an issue for some. Family's going to be an issue for others. Your time is going to get eaten up with all of these things that you have to do. And I want you all to be very clear that this is the time of year that you can literally take over market share in your business. This is the time. So I encourage you to double down, be very purposeful in the time that you're spending in your real estate business because it will pay huge dividends in January and February. When everybody else doesn't have any business, if you just get purposeful 6 hours a day, 5 days a week in real estate now, you will do really well January and February. Okay? Any other questions? What time is it?
12:08.
Damn, so I'm 8 minutes over. All right, thank you all. I appreciate you. Be bold. Have an awesome week. One,
Yes.
1 to
And
1 to 3:30.
the market Christmas party too.
I don't know.
The what?
The market Christmas party, the market center Christmas party.
Which was last Thursday?
No.
Oh, yeah. How many of you are going to Dragon Ridge Country Club for the Christmas party?
When is it?
Why?
Who's the dress for it?
They
When
raised the
is
price,
it?
they
So
raised, they raised the
it's-
prices
it's
a
like
while ago.
Friday, this Friday.
I've already bought tickets.
So
Wait.
it's $15.
No, it's 30.
No, it's 30 now. $100 at the door.
Okay,
We'll pull some strings.
if you want to go and you can afford the 15 and you can't afford the 30, make sure that you go to Amelia. Let's get your name and I can probably go and twist some people's arm and get you at the $15 price. okay? No guarantees, but I feel confident I can do that.
What's the dress?
So it's semi-formal, tuxedo, it's not tuxedos, but it's,
Sparkly things?
yeah, we're smart.
It's not, so it's not a black tie affair,
And
but
it's at Dragon Ridge Country Club.
Alright, so, did you like it?
Okay.
Good, okay, so, okay, you got it. A moment. So what are your plans? What do you want to do? Do you want to join the team? Or what do you guys think you want to do? So if you want to know what the next step is, Arsenio and I will actually go over that right now. So, you guys looking to get your license? Okay, great. So what we're going to offer, you want to go and talk to them about what the ISA program looks like? Oh, you told them all. Well, just kind of go give them a little bit more detail.
I wanna know how it works pay grade wise. I know that's not something you're just asking.
No, of course not. I mean, of course
No,
you're.
no,
Let me clarify. No, it's important because that's why else would you be here unless you were looking for money. I get it. Don't worry. So, do you want to talk to them about some of the options they have, as well as working to get their license? Working, like what Craig was saying, to get their license?
Oh, yeah, well, I kinda already looked at that point. If they can get 25 appointment and then, 5% for the closing costs.
So,
Good.
here, let me give you one second. I can
I cannot find him. I need to ask like Brendan.
Yeah, 'cause he said he put it in the system.
Yeah, maybe it's in his
Maybe
name.
it is in there.
The trash can? Thank you.